WFYI podcasts are made possible by Bloomington, Indiana, an American college town offering experiences like indulging in grub at Nick's English Hut, taking a stroll along Kirkwood Avenue, feeling the history and magic of Assembly Hall, and providing the chance to feel like a college kid again. Plan your trip at visitbloomington.com.
I'm Kyle Long, host of Cultural Manifesto, just one of the local music programs you can enjoy on WFYI. These programs would not be possible without your financial support. And to say thank you, we want to send you to see Lyle Lovett when he comes to Indianapolis on July 28th. Choose a concert ticket as your gift when you donate at WFYI.org/give. And thanks for supporting WFYI.
This is WFYI News Now. It's May 28th, and I'm Abriana Herron. On today's show, the number of students participating in Indiana's private school voucher program reaches an all-time high. Animal health experts warn against feeding raw milk to your pets. And a precarious legal landscape is leaving some patients in the Midwest worried about the future of their IVF care.
We were talking about, do we need to get a lawyer to figure out what to do with our embryo? Or do we need to move our embryo to another state so that it's safe?
Those stories coming up. But first, an effort is underway to help plan interstate changes in Indianapolis. WFYI's Jill Sheridan reports on insights from the latest phase of the so-called Propel study.
In the first phase of the study, INDOT solicited community feedback and received 1,100 comments. The new analysis identifies needs based on that feedback and other data. The report identifies issues along I-70 and 65 inside the 465 circle. And as INDOT Communications Director Natalie Garrett points out, some of the interstates are decades old.
These segments of interstate need to be addressed in the future. So coming to the public earlier in the planning process, asking them what are some needs.
The study targets areas including bridge safety, mobility, and multimodal connectivity. The PEL in Propel stands for Planning and Environmental Linkage, a federal program that guides long-term interstate improvement. INDOT will take comments from the public until the end of June. I'm Jill Sheridan.
The number of students participating in Indiana's private school voucher program is at an all-time high. 70,000 students used a publicly funded voucher to help pay for tuition at a private or religious school last year. From WFYI's Education Desk, Eric Weddle reports on the program.
Last year, lawmakers changed the rules and made nearly everyone in Indiana eligible. Now, a family of 4 earning more than $200,000 can get help paying for private school. Researcher Joseph Waddington at the University of Notre Dame says the growth in the program is not surprising.
The enrollment growth in the voucher program is a result of that increase in income eligibility, but there is growth in other parts of the program as well.
The number of families earning less than $100,000 who used a voucher grew by more than 14%. A new state report says the Choice Scholarship Program redistributed $439 million to private schools in the 2023-24 school year. I'm Eric Weddle.
People with cats shouldn't feed them raw milk. Some animal experts have warned. As Side Effects Public Media's Ben Thorpe reports, experts are increasingly concerned about how a bird flu outbreak in dairy cows could impact pets, and in particular, cats.
It is illegal to sell raw milk to consumers in just a handful of states, including Indiana and Kentucky. But with bird flu impacting dairy cows across 9 states, experts are now warning that raw milk shouldn't be fed to pets either. Cats consuming raw milk have become infected and in some cases died at a site in Texas. Denise Derer-Spears is a spokesperson for the Indiana State Board of Animal Health.
So if you're a cat owner, be careful, or even pets in general, if it's affecting other species, it could be a problem there as well because you don't have that safety step of pasteurization.
Testing from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has found that commercial milk sometimes shows remnants of the bird flu virus, but the pasteurization process kills the virus and makes the milk safe for humans to drink. I'm Ben Thorpe, Side Effects Public Media.
And for our final story today, A number of Midwestern state legislatures, including Indiana, Iowa, and Ohio, introduced bills this session that could give rights to embryos and fetuses. None of the bills passed this year, but they're expected to come back up in the future. Side Effects Public Media's Natalie Krebs reports that some Midwesterners worry about how this could affect their reproductive choices.
Jacqueline Brock endured grueling fertility treatments for 7 years, and all of the emotion that came with it.
I had to stop going to outings with our friends because they would bring their kids or talk about their kids, and I would just cry. I didn't go to a lot of baby showers and things because I couldn't physically handle it.
Brock and her husband James live in West Des Moines, Iowa. Last year, she underwent a third round of in vitro fertilization, or IVF. It produced 2 embryos. She had 1 implanted. This time it worked.
I got a call from our fertility clinic, and all of the nurses and our doctors, I'm going to start crying. They were on the phone, and they all yelled out we were pregnant.
Brock's daughter Eloise was born in January. But her joy quickly turned to frustration when, a month later, the Alabama Supreme Court ruled that embryos created through IVF should be considered children.
And I remember I just started crying, and I was so angry.
Brock says she felt for the women who had to pause her IVF cycles during the initial confusion in the wake of the ruling. But it also made her concerned about the couple's remaining embryo. They really want a second child. At the time, several Midwestern states, including Iowa, Kansas, and Missouri, were considering bills that could impact families seeking IVF. The bills could give some rights to embryos that are generally ascribed to a person. Doctors told Brock she likely can't use the embryo to carry another pregnancy herself for medical reasons, so she and her husband are considering other options like surrogacy. But the precarious legal landscape worries them a lot.
We were talking about, do we need to get a lawyer to figure out what to do with our embryo? Or do we need to move our embryo to another state so that it's safe?
It's common practice during IVF to create extra embryos in case of abnormalities or other issues. And embryos can be easily damaged, as they were in the case central to the Alabama decision. Infertility specialist Abby Mancuso says when embryos are legally considered children, that could have a detrimental impact on doctors like her.
If you're an embryologist or an institution and you could be held criminally liable for any damage that occurred to these microscopic cells, that's obviously a concern.
Facilities also may face civil liability and be sued for a lot of money and damages. Debates over abortion and IVF protections are expected to play a significant role in the upcoming election. Proponents of bills that define life as beginning at conception say they want to ensure they are written so they protect IVF and fertility treatments. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey signed a law shielding IVF patients and providers from legal liability following the Alabama court decision. But critics say it's not that easy. Sarah Wilson is an attorney who specializes in fertility and adoption practices.
It's hard to really write in exceptions that are truly going to protect families and IVF and other fertility treatments while still keeping the position that an embryo is a person.
Wilson says in the meantime, it's added more stress for her clients who are already going through a difficult, complicated process. It's changed their tone.
Instead of the hope and excitement that I usually hear from them, they come to me with concern and they're scared. They are not sure if their legal parentage will be protected and if they'll have decisions over their own medical care.
Wilson says some of her clients are nervous about what the future might hold and are talking about pursuing fertility treatment out of state. Natalie Krebs, Side Effects Public Media.
This story is a collaboration among Side Effects Public Media and the Midwest Newsroom. That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by the following people who live in your community: Drew Daudelin, Kendall Antron, who composed the music for this podcast, and me, Abriana Herron. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. If you like today's episode, remember to subscribe and share. And follow WFYI on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.
WFYI podcasts are made possible by Bloomington, Indiana, an American college town offering experiences like indulging in grub at Nick's English Hut, taking a stroll along Kirkwood Avenue, feeling the history and magic of Assembly Hall, and providing the chance to feel like a college kid again. Plan your trip at visitbloomington.com.